Welcome to the alchemy of sex and spirit, where sex, psychology and spirit meet. In this episode, we'll explore the 7 stages of sexual development. And stay until the end for this episode's magical practice. It might just change everything. Sex is an enigma. It's a gift, some say, while others believe it to be the root of all our problems. It's been the source of both pleasure and pain for humankind since we first stepped our footprints upon the earth. And it's a truism that sex is a catalyst for both the best and the worst in human beings. In one direction, sex leads to progressive states of satisfaction, regeneration, fulfilment, joy, even ecstasy. But in the opposite direction, it can lead progressively into states of anxiety, depletion, regret, addiction, aversion, and terror. It's precisely this potential for such contrasting experience that creates so much confusion and negativity surrounding sex. It can be both a beautiful force for good and an ugly power of evil. It can be a means to profound joy and also a cause of anguish, violence, even death. There's an old saying, the most dangerous things are those that have reality or truth in them. Things which are unreal or false fall to pieces and vanish away. Sex is one such example. It can be so dangerous because it's so real and connects us with the sources of reality in a particular and unique way. Sex is holy. Sex is dirty. Sex is light. Sex is dark. Sex is sacred. Sex is nasty. Sex is both pornographic and artistic. Women open themselves to sex through love. Men discover love through sex. Through sex, humanity was expelled from paradise. It's only through sex that humanity can return. Love it or loathe it, indulge in it or avoid it. Sex is here to stay. At least it will still be with us in its current form for several thousand years. In fact, until we fully utilize the true potential of our sexual selves, we're unable to evolve further as a species. Until human beings have evolved to a stage where the method of reproduction is fundamentally changed, sex will be the means by which life enters the world stage. The development of the human race is ultimately connected to sex. We all come into the world through sex. And as human beings, we don't simply develop physically, mentally, and emotionally throughout our life. We also develop sexually. There are 7 stages or degrees of sexual development. And perhaps more than any other factor, it's these stages of sexual development that have such a critical bearing on the quality of intimate relationships. Then, crucially, even the personality type and destiny of babies may be determined by the stage of sexual development of the partners who conceive through sexual intercourse. First stage of sex, innocence. It would be naive and inaccurate to say that a newborn baby is asexual when it's born. Of course, that's what we like to think as we look at the little innocent laying in the cradle, yet sexual development starts immediately. The newborn begins to sense the essential distinctions of the feminine and masculine energies of their parents, brothers, sisters, and other relatives. Through the senses of touch, hearing, taste, smell, and sight, the baby then experiences the pleasurable and not so pleasurable aspects of these other human life energies. Discovering life energies through the senses is the basis of all subsequent sensuality. In order to progress beyond the stage of sexual innocence to a more conscious stage of development, this requires direct experience of the further stages of sex. First, we all have to leave the Garden of Eden and go out into the scary world of relationships. Some people repress their sexual feelings and avoid sex, even that of normal and essential adolescent experimentation or masturbation. When stuck in the innocence stage of sex, one of the most common symptoms in an adult is that of the male partner being unable to access masculine energy. Such men sexually function, albeit unknowingly, in feminine energy and consequently are passive and uninteresting as lovers. If a woman is stuck at this stage of development, she may be too avoidant, highly defended, showing either disdain for the opposite sex or projecting superiority. Either way, unable to reveal her feminine beauty and gentle strength. These men or women find themselves either unable to establish intimate relationships at all, or where they do, they live in conflict with the perceived expectations of their gender roles. This leads either to boredom or dominance in one partner and subservience or deceit in the other. Babies conceived within relationships that are stuck at the stage of innocence will tend to be emotionally unstable or overprotected. They become fearful of authority, manipulative, or easily manipulated. They'll tend to be energetically neutral with resultant social or sexual dullness. The second stage of sex, instinctual. The main indicator of the stage of instinctual sexual development is a lack of self-control. When sexual actions arise out of instinct, there's very little consciousness involved. Sex at this stage of development is mainly nocturnal, semi- or subconscious. Instincts involve a complex psychic organization connecting the nervous system to the physical senses, creating machine-like reactions. The sex life of animals are instinctive. And although human beings are a more highly evolved species, when they react purely instinctively, they share life at the same level as animals. Such people go through life driven by the 5 physical senses, forceful urges that seem to have power over them. They appear to make choices, although many of them turn out to be bad ones, while in reality they seldom make conscious decisions, being ruled by their instincts. Instinctual sex is reactive to need or demand. In men, instinctual sex is typified in erotic and wet dreams, involuntary spontaneous erections, and obsessive masturbation. In women, it's seen in the need to attract and seduce. She's compulsively attached to her appearance, and usually self-destructs in the process, typically in her relationship with food. Intimate relationships built upon instinctual sexual development either implode or become abusive and violent. Babies conceived through instinctive sexual intercourse will often become heavy compulsive smokers, drinkers, or dependent upon other substances. In their sexual relationships, they'll tend to be either extremely selfish or people pleasers, creating pressure and tension both within themselves and within their partner. Third stage of sexual development, primal. This stage of sexual development provides an opportunity to evolve. Romantic love is usually the catalyst for this first metamorphosis, but unfortunately, not everyone makes this transition, even through a relationship of love. When one partner is still in the developmental stage of innocence or instinct, while the other is ready for intimacy, there's fertile ground for deep conflict and potential schism. It can be puzzling for a couple to discover deep conflicts and strife emerging within their relationship when everything on the surface appears to be compatible. The differences within the various stages of sexual development, however, exist at the unseen levels of consciousness and energy. The goal of primal sex is gratification, ultimately through procreation, continuity of the bloodline, tribe, family, lineage. Primal sex is an unconscious attempt to become immortal, to live forever through offspring. It's dependent upon performance and good physical health, and can be conducted with or without love. Infidelity is normal with primal sex. Men become obsessed by pornography and masturbation, while women either have secret affairs, become sexually passive, or shut their sexuality down altogether. Fetishism is an intrinsic aspect of primal sex, replacing people with objects and relationships with the computer screen. Websites replace social dating, and graphic sexual relationships are conducted in chat rooms or via webcams without the need for connection or social skills. It's necessary to recognize primal sex in order to grow beyond it. Particularly prevalent in primal sex is jealousy, control, ownership, premature ejaculation in men, and the inability to orgasm in women are the main sexual dysfunctions of primal sex. Babies conceived through primal sexual intercourse will often be needy and display overly dependent character traits. Female babies will often be love-starved as adults, becoming promiscuous, while male babies conceived through primal sexual intercourse will be loners and find great difficulty in establishing intimate relationships. Fourth stage of sexual development, power. Where both partners are in this stage of sexual development, relationships will experience a constant power struggle, felt not just in sex, but also within the other aspects of life. If their attempts to overcome the lack of self-control at the primal stage of sex have been unsuccessful, one or both partners will attempt to establish external control. This strategy doesn't work. Real control is found within. For people living at this level, situations and circumstances keep repeating. Destructive relationships, financial difficulties, sexual problems, they don't go away. They keep showing up, irrespective of location or relationship partner. Imagine what it must be like to live every day as though you were walking through yesterday. Every experience you have is an action replay of past experiences, as though you've been there before. You might think that such a life would be dull and boring, but if only that was the case. Life experience like this is more like a nightmare. Such a person is trapped in endless rounds of repeating circumstances, never discovering a way out. They're always looking over their shoulder, haunted by the past and expecting the worst from every situation. They create a fortress against impending disaster, catastrophe waiting to happen. Resources must be stored, defenses built to ward off the advancing enemy, which is life itself. Defenses against life, they must be foolproof. Denial, repression, suppression, rationalization, activism, projection, intellectualism, becoming a victim, becoming a tyrant. Defenses such as these, and many more, are built to avoid recurring experiences and circumstances. Living behind defenses is akin to being a prisoner, ruled by external demands and self-imposed restrictions. Fifth stage of sexual development, metaphysical. This stage is for those who are ready to go beyond the ordinary experience of sex. It's for those whose soul is awakening, those who are developing higher senses or faculties of awareness. This approach to sex requires an inward opening to a limitless range of feelings discoverable through the energy body. The word metaphysical is derived from meta, which denotes something of a higher order, a change of condition. Metaphysical sexual development takes us beyond the physical body, describes sex of a higher order. When people engage in metaphysical sex, the energies of life are released, feeding the Earth's atmosphere. Babies conceived through metaphysical sexual intercourse will be generally content and peaceful of mind. As young children, they'll display extraordinary talents, including the ability to respond to reason. As adults, males will be sensitive and caring, females will be natural mothers, nurturers, or lovers. They'll be creative, having an inbuilt confidence to push boundaries and explore new horizons. Sixth stage of sexual development, full body sex. The sixth stage of sexual development is when the individual or the couple can experience a particular range of orgasmic states at will. This stage begins with an expansion from genital orgasm to whole body orgasm, and it's available to both men and women. It's an aspect of life force control. Tantric teachers expound the theories and practice of the whole body conscious orgasmic state. Experienced authentically, the sixth or orgasmic phase of sexuality encourages good physical health, high energy levels, and even longevity of life. It also produces extraordinary relationships that have the potential to be a catalyst for a powerful healing influence in the world. In truth, it's only where a relationship is already extraordinary that such a high voltage experience can be sustained over time. Some people may have merely spontaneous or one-off Kundalini experiences, but these are rarely repeated or maintained consistently. The potential downside to the sixth phase of sexual development is when one or other partner becomes obsessive or self-indulgent. The full body orgasmic state can be intoxicating, and unless there's sufficient moral and spiritual grounding and development in a person's character, the higher levels of sexual experience can be damaging to the everyday aspects of a relationship. It's vital that a couple explore such realms with a commitment to total truth and honesty, and that they practice open and authentic communication around their individual feelings and experiences, and especially the occasional lack of feelings or great experiences. Seventh stage, bliss or ecstasy. This stage is beyond ordinary knowledge or experience, and our language is inadequate to describe this sphere of existence that can be experienced from time to time within the physical human body. It's beyond explosive orgasm. It's timeless. It's bliss. At such heights of sexual bliss, a man or a woman literally worships the other. In fact, he or she is worshipping their partner as an aspect of the other. Distinctions of man and woman, while being dissolved as mere separate egos, are heightened as aspects of the divine. My partner is no longer merely beautiful, but is beauty itself. I find myself gazing at her hands, her arms, hair, eyes, lips, the pigmentation of the skin. She's to be tasted, savoured. I want to disappear within her and be dissolved as a separate person. I worship her body. I worship the beloved who has appeared as her. There is a downside to this seventh phase of sexuality. Having reached a place of sexual perfection, where all separation has ceased and man and woman have become one, there is such reluctance to make the descending journey back to normal consciousness, so that some may be discouraged from ascending at all. It's also alarming, even frightening, how animal-like the human being's lower sexual feelings and energy are compared to the rarefied energy of this seventh phase. To have to return through the energy centers of the body, including those that open the sense organs to external stimuli, and to feel the pull of sexual energy involved in the previously explained 6 phases can be alarming. The all-important necessity for couples who aspire to attain such a subtle sexual relationship is that they must be strong enough in their love for one another to withstand the buffering that comes from the resistant forces that exist in everyday life. If they can't work and play together, cook and wash up together, suffer together, cry and laugh together, then it's better that they don't yet attempt to ascend the steps to sexual bliss. Magical practice. First, choose and gather a number of inanimate objects, all of different textures, sizes, and shapes. Include smooth, rough, delicate, furry, soft, silky, and solid objects. Place them on a tray. Find a place where you can be alone and in peaceful silence. Set an intention to connect with your feelings through the practice of touch or caress. The most important changes are those that take place in your awareness. The sexual responses you are looking for from your physical body will change in direct relation to the shifts made in your awareness. Set aside at least 15 minutes for this practice. Sit comfortably and switch off all devices. Close your eyes. Place a blindfold or eye mask over your eyes. The purpose of this practice is to explore the sensations, emotions, and body feelings that arise within you when you spend time touching or caressing a simple object. Allow at least 3 or 4 minutes to spend holding, touching, caressing each object. You may find 1 or 2 of the objects that you become absorbed by, and you may find that you spend far longer, maybe up to 6 or 7 minutes, on those particular objects. Don't turn the experience into a guessing game. The objective of the practice is not to guess what object you are touching. It's to experience the touch itself. What feelings does each object evoke within you? For example, if it's a delicate article, it could make you feel powerful. If it's a silky item, it might make you feel sensual. If it's a small object, it might make you feel protective. There are an infinite range of feelings that this practice can connect you with. If you are doing this exercise alone, write the feelings you have experienced down in a notebook. If you are doing this exercise as a couple, talk to each other about the feelings you've experienced when the touching of the objects is actually finished. Do this practice once a week for 4 weeks, using different objects every time. Let the awareness of your inner feelings connect you deeply with the object. Imagine that the object was an intimate partner. Something powerful is already stirring. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can download my ebook, The 7 Stages of Love, completely free. Just follow the link in the description or comment section below. Until next time, take these words from the 7 spiritual laws of love away with you. Losing yourself in sex is pleasure. Finding yourself in sex is a blessing. Thank you for listening. I'm David Brown, and this is The Alchemy of Sex and Spirit.